Hello and welcome to the LRM podcast, sponsored by Adrian Flux Insurance. I'm Martin Dominy.
And I'm Steve Miller.
And you join us for an hour of chat about Land Rovers and everything to do with owning them. So we'll actually kick off with a listener's question, shall we?
I don't see why not.
Sound like a good idea to you? Right, straight into it then. It doesn't actually leave his name, but he says, "Hi lads, I'm a 20-year-old restoring an 86-inch Series 1. Good on you.
Yeah, nice.
So far, I've rebuilt the carb and released a few sticking valves. It runs like a dream. A few bits to do with the clutch dragging and the brakes not working, so it sounds like it's a bit of a recommission job, which is pretty cool. It's obviously been stood up a while, I'd say. He says, I've got a few questions, and I'll drop you over a few pictures. First of all, I mean, for the record, I'm showing Steve a photo of the Series 1. It's an 86-inch and it's got a truck cab on it. It's pretty
really
cool.
Nice thing, actually.
He says, should I respray it or leave it as it is?
So I've had a look at the picture, and we discussed it before we started recording, didn't we? And I think, for me, it's the right side of patina to leave it as it is. I think it's a genuine old truck.
The photo isn't incredibly detailed. I can see it doesn't look awful, does it?
No.
Panel wise, it's green. I would probably go down the route of getting some Scotch pad and just giving it a little rub over with some water, like wet sand it down a little bit. Just to get, because if it's been stood, it's probably got like build up of lichen and stuff and bits and pieces like that on it. So I'd probably just give it a bit of a scrub, leave it, and then possibly even wipe some WD-40 over it just to give it a bit of a shine.
Yeah, good show.
But I wouldn't go painting it.
No, I don't think it doesn't look like it needs to be painted. I think it's showing its age, but it's respectful of its year.
Part of the reason I wouldn't paint it is because once you've painted it, especially if you're going to respray it, as he asks, you are then going to be chasing the rest of it up to that standard, if you see what I mean.
Yes. And they are only original once.
Quite. Yeah.
So are you... yeah, you're taking its years off.
I would be sympathetic with it. I think that's the key.
What I like about this email from this listener is that it's 20 years old, and we said about a couple of podcasts ago, didn't we, about 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds not knowing one end of a spanner to the other. But seeing this he's doing a recommissioning job, he sounds like he knows his way around.
Yeah, definitely.
Older vehicles.
His next question, in fact, is it a huge job to rebuild the gearbox? And the answer to that is not really. There's a bit of pressing of bearings and things like that to take into consideration, but they're a fairly simple design.
Yeah, so I personally wouldn't go anywhere near it.
I mean...
Only from my own perspective, because they're quite...
It depends also if it's got a Series 1 gearbox in it. That's slightly different to Series 2A, 2, 2A and 3. Certainly 2A and 3. And parts availability hasn't got any easier. So I would certainly make sure you've got a good source of bits before you start ripping into it, because if you find things that you might not be able to get your hands on, then that could delay going back together.
Probably not a bad question. I mean, who would you go to if you didn't do it yourself? Who's doing Series 1 gearboxes?
Beaumont's.
Okay.
Do series gearboxes. I believe, I'm not sure how many of them he does now. Synchro gearboxes used to do them. I know they supply kits of gaskets and things like that. I can't remember if they're actually taking on rebuilds. But Beaumont's are the one that springs to mind for old stuff.
Right, yeah. It's just not something I've ever had done, so I wouldn't actually know who to turn to. Yeah,
it's there's a 2 or 3 in the country that you would go to. Ashcroft's do some upgrades. I don't think they really do rebuilds on them again, like similar to Synchro.
Yeah,
they specialise in the sort of LT77s and R380s and auto boxes, but
it's not something that, I mean, if you join the Series 1 club, you'd get an answer immediately, wouldn't you?
That's a really good point, actually.
I would probably join the club.
And they would probably have their own special sort of sources for the best parts you can get, because obviously you don't want to be pulling a gearbox in and out and tearing it to bits to find out that you either can't get the bits or you fit the bits and they're no good, so you want to do it once.
Or it's beyond your skill level, because if you've taken it to bits,
Yeah.
It's not the same, is it, delivering something in pieces to a specialist and taking the entire box for them to dismantle?
Very true.
So I don't know. Difficult one.
Yeah. So not a huge job if you know what you're doing. If you're not sure, I would get it done elsewhere. But first, I would actually try it and see what the gearbox is like, because it might just need an oil change and a good run.
Yeah.
Third question, he says, best place to get a canvas roof.
So that motor there would look really good as a soft top. We were saying earlier, weren't we? The Series 1s with the truck cab look quite top heavy. So they look...
Yeah, because
they'd be cramped in there, wouldn't they?
they're a narrow body, aren't they? They've got the barrel sides of a 2 or a 2A or a 3. But once you add a truck cab on top, they sort of look quite, like you say, top, like they've got a hat on. So I would probably go for a canvas on this. As for a supplier...
Yeah, so the obvious choice would be Exmoor trim.
Yep.
And also undercover covers. They attend quite a lot of our spares days with lots of nice looking stuff. I think undercover covers, weren't they the original people to supply Land Rover back in the 1940s?
I believe so.
Compton's 3000.
As they were then known.
Yeah, undercover cover is Compton's 3000.
Yeah, take your pick, really. It
actually,
depends.
a new canvas on that would make the old paintwork look kind of cool. Do you get me? Because you've got the canvas is new.
Yes.
Against old.
Yeah.
It's a nice contrast.
You'd have to be pretty selective of the colour of canvas you went with, I think. I've got sand 3/4 length canvas on my 109, and before I painted the bodywork, it really showed up how bad the bodywork was because it was such a different colour.
Yeah, your bodywork really was bad.
It was horrendous, wasn't it? I think if you went for khaki, you'd get away with it, and it would suit the vehicle more, as opposed to a brighter colour like sand.
It's interesting, right? So some of the early original canvases are better. So a second-hand original may be better than a new one. And do you know why?
It's down to the chemicals they can treat them with or something.
Yeah. So now you can't use, because of the environmental, it's a bit like creosote for fences, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can't use the same stuff on the canvas as they used to back in the day.
Oh, right, okay.
So, canvas doesn't last as long now than it used to.
Wow.
There you go.
Can you buy the band stuff and treat the canvas yourself once you've bought it?
That I do not know. But I should imagine there's some nasty chemicals in the original stuff.
Yeah, probably.
So the waterproofing, because they can... The UV affects new canvas now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And obviously water, and they rot, and they split.
It's the same with a lot of things, actually. That you say that, they do, but if you don't take care of them. So many people,
keeping them clean and I suppose you can
and tensioned properly. The number of Land Rovers you see and the rear flap, if you like, that comes down to meet the tailgate is like 6 inches too tall.
because they've left it rolled up.
When it's rained and they haven't secured it properly. And there's more to looking after a canvas than most people think. But when you do look after it, it's going to last longer.
Yeah. And it's not the sort of vehicle, that's probably not the kind of vehicle you leave parked up under a tree shedding its leaves, do you? And just letting them rotting all over.
Looks like it has been parked up under a tree. Yeah, but if you had a nice canvas,
I think you'd need to keep it in a shed or undercover.
Sure. So Exmoor or undercover covers, and just be considered when you choose the colour, I guess. And finally, cheapest insurance for a 20-year-old. He says he's barely going to drive anywhere, so limited mileage. Well...
Yeah, funny enough, I would advise in the initial conversation to speak to Adrian Flux, who are the channel's sponsor.
Kindly sponsor this fine podcast.
But speak to them, but my main concern is because, yes, you're not going very many miles, but a lot of the classic policies don't kick in, do they, now till the age of 25?
I wish I could tell you, to be honest. It's a conversation you'd have to have with them.
Yeah.
This is you often see it online. People say, well, what's the cheapest insurance for my Defender? There is no such thing. Your circumstances will be so different to everyone else's.
It's based on your age, your occupation, your postcode. It all changes.
Where you park it, what you do for a living. Everything has an effect on it. So it's hard to make a sweeping statement, but certainly give Adrian Flux a bell, talk to them about what you need, and hopefully they can help you.
Do you know, right? So would you class your career as a journalist? because if you are a journalist,
Yeah.
it goes against you. You're high risk.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that because they think you're going to be like power sliding Porsche 911s around roundabouts and things like that?
I don't know what it is. And the other occupation is if you're a motor mechanic.
Yes, I did know that one.
Yeah.
Because that hit me.
So, So both careers you've chosen are slightly more expensive.
Great. It got me thinking, actually. Insurance, obviously, we always say in the workshop guides in Land Rover Monthly, of which there are many, if they're upgrades or accessories, you obviously need to tell your insurance company about any mods you do to your Land Rover so that your cover's not invalid if anything goes wrong or it gets stolen. And I saw the other day a first-generation Range Rover Sport with new Defender wheels on it, and I thought it really suited it. Have you seen this? The 18-inch white steel wheels?
I had a steel wheel one, yes.
Yeah.
I have seen it. Where did you see that?
I can't remember. I think it was on the A14. I was going out somewhere towards Birmingham way.
Okay. I thought it was round here somewhere. I've seen one. with Defender steels.
You see a few discoveries, but this is the first Range Rover Sport I'd seen, and I was like, wow, that is really cool. It was like a Cairns Blue, I think it was. It really suited it.
Been the same.
So, I was thinking, what else? Because they're 5x120, you could fit them on Discovery 2. Range Rover, I'm not sure it would suit an L322, but it's fun to see, different wheels from different eras of Land Rover on other Land Rovers. Obviously,
you've got Evoque wheels, haven't you, on your...
Yeah, I've got two sets of Evoque wheels, which I use on my Freelander 2 because it's impossible to get good condition Freelander 2 alloys because they seem to be... I don't think people clean them as much as they might clean Evoques, and they corrode very, very quickly. So I gave up with those and I've fitted Evoque wheels.
Well, and Freelander 2s are older.
True, yeah.
The wheels have been around longer.
That's true.
Corrode.
I could get them refurbished, but Evoque wheels are 10 a penny now if you choose.
I think you've got more problems than that.
Anyway, so, wheels on things that the wheels shouldn't be on. And then I thought to myself, of all the modifications I've seen over the years, there are some truly brilliant ones and some truly terrible ones as well. So why don't we spend a few minutes and talk about modifications that I just don't understand? I'll kick off here with people who fit a full-width light bar, which I have no problem with, but they self-tapper it to the bonnet. Have you seen...
What?
Have you not seen this before?
Self-tapper?
A full-width light bar screwed through the bonnet.
Classy.
Of like a Discovery or...
Who knows? I'm a guy that's just done that. That's probably listening to this podcast.
Maybe. If you
are, email us and tell us what's going through your mind. editorial@lrm.co.uk.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from you and your reasoning behind such a modification. What I would say is people fit lights and stuff on roof racks and to the front edge of the roof, and it does look really cool. And that's obviously like your quintessential Camel Trophy G4 type style. Unless you've got the lights set up properly, they do just light up your bonnet.
You see, back in the day, you'd see like classic Range Rovers with those it was like a fiberglass shaped thing with like 4 spotlights on the bonnet.
The bonnet pod. Yes, like a rally car.
Yeah, kind of. But I was never a fan.
They must limit your visibility quite a bit, mustn't it? They're quite high.
Yeah, just not a fan.
I think they had them. Do you remember the Dakar kit cars that were based on a Range Rover Classic? And I think you could get
what's her name? What's the Annika Rice? She had one.
I don't know, mate.
Yeah, we've talked about her.
Was that back when TV was in black and white?
It was certainly 1990s TV, late 80s, 90s.
I don't remember what she drove, but the Dakar was
Dakar.
like, well, yeah, one of them. Yeah. They quite often had the 4 big light pods on the front. You still see the odd Dakar, they're pretty cool.
Yeah, but you'd 15 years ago, you'd see one at every single Land Rover show. You very rarely see one now. You see the odd one, but not in the significant numbers.
No. There's a few different kits that you could buy to rebody your rotten old Range Rover, or probably in more recent times, Discovery.
You see, I like the Long Ranger.
Yeah,
you knew I was going to say that then, didn't you?
Yeah, it was on show and tell, wasn't it? At Billing, the Caterham 7 looking one.
Well, that was, but not the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about the pickup, the fiberglass pickup
Yes, yes,
Long
yes.
Ranger.
Okay.
So built from a rotten Discovery 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But then you do a shortened overhang at the back, where you can have a full length or you can shorten the overhang. That's a really nice thing.
The only thing I don't like about the pickups is you need to extend the wheelbase, otherwise it looks odd.
Yeah, but if you go extending the wheelbase, you're messing with the chassis.
Yeah.
Immediate Q plate, isn't it?
But would you not agree that the cab ends too far back to be a proper truck? Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
the back wheel is tucked too far into the cab on a 100-inch chassis. There's loads of them out there, and some of them have done 110 or 130-inch wheelbase, which looks proper.
Yeah, you're talking about design. Oh no, what are they called? The company that did the one with the Mercedes engine in.
Oh,
but that's not a Long Ranger, is it?
I think the cab is from Long Ranger, the fiberglass cab.
Okay, but then that's an awesome bit of kit.
Yeah, definitely. Long Ranger, unfortunately, packed up recently, haven't they? But I think someone else has taken
retired, yeah. So, hanging they're called GRP Mouldings or something?
Possibly.
Something like that, yeah.
Getting on to terrible modifications, though, you must have a couple up your sleeve that you don't understand.
Terrible modifications.
You ever just see something and you're just like, what on earth are you doing?
I'm trying to think now.
But clearly not as offended by some of the stuff as I am.
Oh, no. I mean, you see some horror.
Oh, I tell you what, case in point, I saw someone ask a question on one of the Facebook groups the other day, and his words were, how can I make my Discovery 2 smoke more?
Someone left our spares day the other day at Malvern, and the smokiest, most popcorny exhaust Discovery 2 I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was on the rev limit all the way to the traffic lights. And it was just, and everyone, right? So do you think everyone was like, wow, that sounds amazing?
They probably thought.
Or did the majority of the people around me just shake their heads in disgust and go,
what an absolute
tool.
Probably
smoked everybody out. And it's just bad taste, man. You're in the Malvern Hills, and then you got that noise. There's a time and place.
I'm actually not completely averse to a naughty exhaust, and maybe I don't really like popcorn limiters, but I think that's it's a bit of like a Volkswagen, like the PD Skoda Fabias and Golf TDIs and stuff. I always associate them with popcorn limiters, and it's just a bit tragic, isn't it?
Yeah, and they're the ones with all the sooted up rear.
Yeah, that's it.
You can't even see the number plate because all the soot from the exhaust.
I just think it's people who owned one of them as their first car, and then they've moved over to a Disco 2, and they want the same slightly sad effect from it.
I just don't understand.
But this guy on Facebook was like, his question on a public group was, how do I make my Disco 2 smoke more? And there's people obviously giving him answers like,
what genuine answer?
Pull a boost hose off it, or stuff a rat in the air intake. It will smoke quite well. Don't do that, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't get it. I don't understand it. It's
for me. I tell you what, the tragic ones for me is the awful lift kits that you see. The ones where, they're clearly dangerous.
I've had lifted Land Rovers in the past, a few of them. I've fitted lift kits for myself and other people, and no Land Rover needs to be lifted more than 2 inches. You can fit 30...
2 inches fine, but when you start going like...
custom springs and bodge blocks.
With 25 wheels
are like screaming like...
Yeah, no.
UJs are just absolutely on fire. You do see certain... You see a big lifted Land Rover and you look underneath it and you go, God, I wish I hadn't seen that. That is terrifying. And again, it goes back to insurance. Like, if your insurance company knew that you'd absolutely murdered your suspension and steering geometry with some 50 quid bodge blocks off eBay, they probably wouldn't be that happy.
It's all well and good until it goes wrong, until you have to make a claim. I remember a few years ago, I was at an off-road event, and the guy turned up in a bob-tailed Discovery, lifted, remold tyres, mud terrain tyres. I mean, the thing was absolutely hanging.
Right.
You'd question if it had an MOT. And he laughed and joked and said, he said, insurance company think this is standard.
Oh.
And it's all well and good until something goes wrong on the public highway and you're then having to make a claim. He's technically uninsured.
Well, the problem isn't so much if if something happens to him, that's bad enough. If it happens and involves someone else, that's obviously terrible because you are uninsured and they won't get anything off you. But if you do get caught out, you probably won't get insurance again because you will have your policy cancelled and then you'll be declined further policies. If you've lied to your insurance company, that's really bad.
I mean, I don't know how we've managed to get onto talking about insurance again, but a lot of these modifications, if you've added a light bar, a snorkel, reef rack, lights, ladder, etc., and you tell your insurance company, most of these policies are actually geared up to provide you a better quote. You'll save money by telling them about the modifications.
I think they
don't shy away from it.
Absolutely. If they see you as someone who's spent that money and that time and effort on their vehicle, you're more likely to look after it than Joe Bloggs with a completely standard car.
Years ago, I had a Discovery one, and I said to them, naming no companies, but they asked me about modifications, and I looked at the vehicle and I said, right, it's standard. And they went, oh, I could really do with you having a modification. I said, you what? Well, he said, well, has it got anything on it?
Yeah.
Oh, just non-standard. I said, oh, it's got a steering guard, because it did. It has a steering guard. It's brilliant, excellent. And then all of a sudden, the quote, I can't remember the numbers now, but it would be worth you buying. At the time, I'm not saying this is the case now, but it was worth buying a steering guard because it saved me more money.
Yeah.
Off the policy, because it puts you into the enthusiast
Definitely
sector, not just Joe Bloggs driving kids around.
It's the same sort of story when they ask if you're in any owners groups or clubs.
Yeah.
If you're in an owners group or a club, you probably care about what you're driving, and you're probably not going to write it off and cause them a massive headache. It's well, everyone knows
it's a bit of a science,
but you've just got to be honest with your insurance. Like,
honesty is key.
And it's amazing, actually, like you said about the steering guard. The smallest thing.
But in my mind, that car was standard.
Well, this is it.
Yeah.
When shortly after I got the Freelander 2, I put a dog guard in it and I put wind deflectors on it, and then I put the Evoque wheels on it. And realistically, you wouldn't look twice at it compared to a brand new Freelander 2. Like that, in my mind, they're not really mods. But when I rang up, I said to them, "Oh, by the way, I've got a dog guard in it and I've got wind deflectors on it, and I've changed the wheels because they were corroded, whatever." Oh, we'll have to put them down as mods. It's crazy the sort of detail they look into.
Yeah, of course.
And you can't be playing games with this, because if you do get caught out, you can end up in hot water. But do you think stickers have had their day?
Not the LRM podcast sticker.
Certainly not. No, people are always keen to get an LRM podcast sticker. When we were at Malvern, I had a few requests for them, and stupidly I left them in my car. So sorry if you asked me for one at Malvern. Send me an email, editorial@lrm.co.uk, and I will do my best to sort you out with one.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they've had their day. And we touched on this, on stickers before, haven't we?
Yeah, retro
cool stickers. Yeah. See, I'm not a big fan of stickers.
Yeah, I mean, I think they can be overdone. I think if you do them in sort of like a quite subtle way, then they're cool. A bit like you used to see them, didn't you, about sort of 10 years ago? There would be like no untouched bodywork or windows. There'd be stickers absolutely everywhere. And the stands at shows that sold stickers would make an absolute killing on like...
Yeah, it used to be a massive sticker companies, yeah.
Really, really popular stuff. So, do you know, it's funny. The things you notice. But I went to Malvern, Spares Day, and actually did buy stuff, but not for me. It was for my friend who's just bought a Series 3 from Cheffin's agricultural auction.
Ah, yeah, because he was looking at that East Anglia one, wasn't it, the auction?
Yeah, he decided he couldn't wait for that, and so he put a bid in and then forgot, and then won this Series 3 out of Cheffin's, which is actually a really cool, nice little 88-inch hardtop. Whoever's owned it has had it a long, long time, and they've done quite a lot to it, and then I think it's probably stood around for a good few years because chassis is quite lacy.
Did you know that when he looked at it?
No, because he didn't view it. He just bid on it.
Did he get it for a good price?
Yeah. I think he paid 2.5-ish for it.
Okay.
But it's got MAP freewheeling hubs, got a capstan winch on it. Tracker high back seats, do you remember them? They were all great.
God, yeah.
It's, what's been done to it is really, really nice. It's just been stood around and it's suffered in the chassis area.
So here's a question: would you buy it? Or
Probably,
would
yeah.
So okay, right.
I think you got a good deal. The winch on it, the capstan's complete, and it is complete with the universal jointed shaft that goes.
Well, they're going for a fair bit.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're good £600-700 complete.
One came up on our classifieds not long ago, but it was as good as new. Only one.
The capstan.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I think you wanted 900 for it.
Oh wow. Yeah. I mean, actually, for a complete unused one, that's probably
it was as good as new. He said,
"Crikey." So he's got that. I went over to see it. Yeah, it's got parabolics on it, and it's got disc brakes on the front as well. It's a nice little wagon. SU carb on it as well. 2 1/4 petrol with an SU conversion.
Okay.
So whoever's had it has obviously made it. They've modified it to make it usable.
A bit more of a daily.
He was a bit disappointed because it had a hole in the carpet where the overdrive lever would have come through, but someone's had the overdrive. I think they've taken the overdrive off it before they sold it, which is a bit annoying.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Is he going to re-chassis it then if it's a bit lacy?
He's welded it up enough to be solid for the moment, but he is planning to re-chassis it, yeah.
Okay.
So he'll have to...
He needs to check out our YouTube page.
He does, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. He needs to book me in early because you'll obviously want to help with your unfinished 90.
I do, right? New Year's resolution, right? It starts in November.
You said this last year, didn't you?
I said it for 3 years.
Yeah.
No, it does need sorting out.
Well, it'll be all right. It'll be all right.
Yeah. But we'll film it, won't we?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it'll be good. Obviously my Series 3 is nearing completion now. Just a few more. The wings have got to go back on, a bit of plumbing.
Not running yet, no?
No, not yet. I've got to get the front panel on and the radiator on, and then it'll run.
Don't know if I've told you, but I'm on holiday next week.
Yeah, thanks for all your for all your help.
What hard work. So you're going to be doing that when I'm away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll probably get more done, won't we?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Try and get a nice lunch cooked, eh?
No, that's true.
Can I get
a barbecue?
You can buy if you want.
We're going to be cracking on with that. I'm really, really excited to get that back on the road because it's been off the road longer than I hoped it would be.
Mine has too.
Yeah, I mean, mine's been, what has it been, 2 months? Beginning of September we stripped it.
Yeah, but in the whole big scheme of things, re-chassis Land Rover within 2 months isn't exactly a long time.
Was it September we took it apart? It was, wasn't it? Early September.
Well, there's a video on YouTube, isn't there, at the moment, of the intro to the project, and we were down in our local woods, weren't we?
Yeah.
And we were in it was warm, so it must have been summertime.
Yeah, we did that a little while before we actually took it to bits, but it wasn't wasn't super, there wasn't a huge gap. But yeah, and it's all painted because it's been the sort of delay. All our worlds have to line up, don't they, for us to continue, really. Like, you've been doing the video, I've had the photographer, Neil's been giving me a hand, and I've obviously got a fair bit on as well. So we've all had to line up our diaries, really, to make progress. But actually, it's been really good because it means that extra time I've had to sort of make a nice job of things and paint things. And
well, you're representing the entire world of Land Rovers, aren't you? You've got to do it right.
I mean,
if you can't do it,
representing it so far with lumps of filler hanging outside of it, so it can only go one way. It can only get better from here. But no, it's going to look very different to how it was before it came apart, and I'm really excited to drive it again with its new springs and new parts.
Take a bit of time to get settled in, and then you just get used to be like a new car for you.
Well, newish, yeah. It's same with anything. You get a list of like snagging points after you've put anything back together, and you need to fettle things and refine things. The way it is. So no doubt I'll be cracking on with an 88-inch one soon as well when my mate orders a new chassis.
You do hit, you'll help with his.
Yeah, he's got a 2-post ramp, so hopefully we can lift the body off his complete rather than strip it in bits like we did with mine.
Even quicker.
Hopefully.
Weekend.
Well, potentially.
2 weekends.
Yeah, probably 2 weekends. Yeah, actually, that's one thing I was going to say was bags of bolts, nuts and bolts and washers and things like that. if you're not sure if you're going to need them, buy them anyway, because you'll always have a use for them in future.
Yes, I agree.
And I went and bought, we've got a local sort of hardware shop which specialises in nuts and bolts, as it happens. And I just went and bought loads and loads of Imperial 1/4-inch fixings, and it's been such a time saver because you're not like wire brushing and messing about with old fixings. You're just throwing them away, fitting new ones.
It's when you undo things and it won't undo. You just get the angle spanner out and you know you've got new ones.
Yeah, or snap them off with an impact.
Yeah.
It sounds quite careless, but next time you come to take that vehicle apart, you'll be pleased because, you know, as long as you reassemble with some sort of good anti-seize, it will all come apart.
Yeah.
And to think that vehicle's, 75? So it's coming up for 50 years old.
Yeah. Of course, only...
Just going to say, it's about the same age as you, isn't
I
it?
tell you, I don't know which one's fared worse. Yeah.
Not answering that.
Thanks.
Yeah, so I will no doubt post on socials, and there will be YouTube videos alongside the rebuild steps in the magazine. So keep an eye on the YouTube channel and obviously buy the magazine because, you know, it's quite a sort of... The fact that we're doing it on a driveway is quite indicative of how most people would do it at home. So...
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it'd be easier to take it to a nice workshop somewhere and do it, but yeah, it's real world stuff.
Yeah, exactly. As you'll see in the video, we battled the elements, didn't we? It was
a bit horrendous. The rain came on the first day, didn't it?
Yeah.
It's how I was filming from the shed.
I did notice. That had not gone unnoticed.
Yeah, I didn't get as wet as you.
No. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting back out in it, and I've got a winter camp out thing booked in early February, so I'm really keen to go for that.
Yeah, I saw you sharing that, and I was thinking, oh man, could I have a lease sprung Land Rover? It's not the same, is it?
You better go out and buy one.
I know, almost right. I thought that looks really cool.
It was cool. I did it last year.
Yeah, I remember. And then now I have to have a lease sprung Land Rover.
Well, sorry, Steve. It's a unique club, and
yeah,
some people just aren't cool enough to be in it.
We talked about this earlier, weren't we? The year has sped, this year particularly, has sped past.
It really has.
So now my camping trailer is sort of ready, and I want to make sure I plan or pre-plan some weekends next year ahead of time, because otherwise, if they're not in the diary,
they don't get done.
The year just goes, yeah, and we just need to think about some trips.
Well, keep an eye on the events section in Land Rover Monthly and our new newsletter as well, and that will help you plan your year ahead.
Not a bad shout there. So anyone that wants to sign up to our newsletters can, because we've got loads of great stuff. We've got new products, vehicles for sale, the events diary that we send out now, which is a new monthly email.
It gets kept up to speed with what's going on in the mag and on socials and YouTube. So, and of course, this fine podcast. So you've got no excuse. All you have to do is head to the website, landrovermonthly.co.uk, and sign up.
And you get loads of free content.
We're proud to partner with Adrian Flux, an insurance broker that specialises in covering all types of Land Rovers, including classic, ex-military, modified and Q-plated models. Adrian Flux offers a range of optional extras to make the policy your own and can provide cover for off-roading, green laning, agreed value and build-up cover. Plus, they even offer a discount of up to 15% for Owners Club members. Simply search Adrian Flux Land Rover Insurance for more information, or call them directly on 0344 728 0417 for a quote.
Okay, so shall we have a feature of the week? Very exciting. A new issue of Land Rover Monthly is on sale.
It is.
Indeed. The winter issue is with us. It's come round.
Because it's cold outside.
Yes, we don't, obviously, a lot of people go, how come you sell the December issue in October and things like that? Well, the reason is because we have 13 issues of Land Rover Monthly and there's only 12 months, so they will get a bit squished up at the end of the year.
And then it resets again with the winter issue before we have a January issue and a February issue.
And you're not going to want to miss this issue because it is brilliant. It's a bit of a celebration of Discovery, really, which is obviously 35 years old this year, launched in 1989. So we've got Discovery 1, 2 and 3 in this issue. And I'm going to focus today on the Discovery 3.
I know, I've read this one. Fantastic.
What I saw this pop up on Facebook, and I thought we really need to get that in the mag because it is a really, really cool story. I'm not going to give too much away because you've got to go out and buy the magazine. Sorry, but it's a guy called Andrew Bridge who uses his Discovery 3 for work, and he's clocked up nearly 1 million miles. It has got 950, as this goes to print, it probably has clocked over 1 million by the time you'll get to read this. 958,402 miles on the clock on a Discovery 3. How good is that?
And if you want to know how to get your Discovery 3 to that mileage, you need to buy the magazine and read the feature because there's some top tips in there.
Absolutely. And we've got part 2 of Gary Pusey's Project J Revelations. Lots more completely exclusive, never seen before history on that, which is mega exciting.
And we've had so much positive feedback about part 1, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as features go, that's top draw.
Absolutely. And thanks again to Gary for putting there's nearly a year's worth of work to get that out. Just brilliant. And of course, the stunning cover star is a lad called Tom Burnett's Discovery 2, shot by Roy Duffy in Wales. What an absolutely cracking car that looks. We'll go into a proper feature of the week on this another week. But
yeah, we will, right? But just talking about our Discovery 2, if ever you wanted an off-road paired Discovery 2, you'd want it to look like that.
It does look, it's really smartly done. It's not like you see a lot of them and it's just everything's just been thrown at it. He's really thought this through and he's done a cracking job on it. And actually, again, you'll have to wait till next week to hear more about it, all right? Just buy the magazine and you can read it now.
Lastly, I've just noticed something on the front cover.
Yeah.
You can win. There's a competition.
This is exciting.
No, I want to win that.
I want to win it, but I don't think we're allowed to enter.
Oh, of course we're not, no.
You can win from our friends at Boom Racing a 1/10 scale Series 2 kit, radio control Land Rover, which is leaf sprung, proper metal chassis, proper axles, super detailed body, and it's worth £839. So you'd be mad not to enter that competition. Grab the magazine and get involved.
Yeah.
So, should we have product of the week?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you want to do the jingle, or are you leaving that to me?
Product of the week.
Oh, you mixed it up a bit there.
I don't know.
I like that one.
My
That was
voice
good.
went. My coffee's cold, man.
Is that why your vocal cords
Yeah.
not quite there? Right. Sorry about this, everyone. I'm having issues locating the new product section.
Not that you put the entire magazine together and should know exactly which page they are on.
Well, Steve, what happens is I normally access this on my telephone. However, because this magazine is so freshly out, I've actually got the physical copy here with me. So, we were talking about exhausts earlier, weren't we?
Is this a popcorn exhaust?
No, it's not. It's a stainless steel exhaust for Defender TDCi from Miltech. Have you ever heard of Miltech before?
I have, yes.
They make fine exhausts for a whole range of vehicles, and they've just started doing Land Rovers. So starting at £550, you can have a resonated or non-resonated, if you want a little bit more of a sporty exhaust note.
I'd go for that one.
You'd go for resonated.
No, none.
Really?
Because I think it would be a nice sound.
Bit of a bark off it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On full chat.
When you're giving it the berries.
When I leave the next spares day.
You could drill a hole in the boost pipe as well, so you get black smoke as you go up the road. Anyway, for 90 and 110 models, the 2.2 and 2.4 TDCi, 3-inch stainless steel mandrel bent, great flow out of these, direct fit for the original system. You do see quite a lot of Defenders with the original exhaust still on, but they must be getting awfully rusty by now.
But they don't rust as much as petrols, do they? They don't get the condensation build-up.
No,
So I reckon that exhaust there, that's a fit and forget.
well, it is.
That
In fact,
lasts forever.
it comes with a lifetime guarantee.
Oh, there you go. I didn't even know that, but I could just tell it's going to be quality.
So there you go. If you want to check out these exhausts, I've actually had a Miltech many years ago on a Mini, I believe it was, of all things. The website is mltk.com. Head over there and see if you fancy one. It does look awfully nicely made. Look at that.
Yeah, it does look good.
For the record, I'm showing Steve a
Almost
picture.
need a TDCi Defender.
Yeah. Well, you need to buy 110.
Well, we spoke about this, didn't we, when we had Tom Barnard's last week?
Yeah, and you still haven't bought one.
No, I've made the money.
I've told you I'll give you $2,000 for your unfinished project, and then you can have that to put towards it.
Yeah, no.
No? I'm
No.
not sold?
When you're in doubt about what you're doing with your Land Rover collection, the best thing to do is nothing for a minute.
Okay.
I don't want to make a financial mistake.
No, there's nothing worse than selling something and then regretting it.
And I do feel I'd regret selling. Thing is, I don't have enough money and I don't have enough space for all the Land Rovers I want.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So it means giving up something that you still love for something that you might love.
I know
it's
what
really
you're saying.
Awkward situation to be in.
There's always three elements, isn't there, when it comes to buying more vehicles: space, time, money. And normally, it's very rare you've got all three at once.
I haven't got any of those. I literally have none of those things. It's about the motivation. So I don't drive my 90 every day. Yeah, I don't mind admitting it.
I believe you've just said that.
I know, because I work from home sometimes and I come into the office.
Yeah,
which
that's
incidentally is only about 3 miles away from where we work. So I don't need the 90. But when I do drive it, I like it.
Yeah.
And other times I drive it and I don't like it. Can you believe that?
Well, no, because I know exactly what you mean. Before I stripped it down, I'd jump in the Series 3 one day and it would be beautiful to drive, lovely and smooth, quiet-ish, and I'd really enjoy it. Other days I'd get in it and I'd hate it.
You have to be in the right frame of mind.
Yeah.
It's a bit weird. It's difficult to explain, but other people listening to this podcast with Land Rover, some people will think I'm talking after crap because they love their Defender, but sometimes you just want to crack on, don't you, and go somewhere.
Yeah.
And the Land Rover TD5 in farm spec is too much of a process. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
It's not
I do.
car-like enough.
The thing, especially coming into this time of year, for that journey, a TD5, or any diesel engine really, will never get up to temperature.
No.
So you've got to warm it up before you leave, or you've got to demist it as you go.
It's a demisting for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bit of a pain.
Heated screen would help, but if your screen's not broken, why would you spend the money?
Yeah.
You can buy kits now, which are actually a lot more affordable than they ever have been. Britpart do the complete wiring kit with the switch, and I think they do the screens as well, among other retailers. And it is a great mod because it does away with de-icing and demisting. But I see what you mean. It's kind of... Yours has got extra sound deadening in it and things like that, though, hasn't it? So it's not quite as...
No, it's not quite as harsh, but you know when you just get used to something that has been, you know, from pre-sound installation to post-sound installation, it was a stark difference.
Yeah.
Like, yes, now I got used to it. Now that's the new norm.
Mm-hmm.
So you almost need more.
What I always remember is from 17 when I passed my test until 21, I think I was, I only ever drove Defenders, as that's all I owned. I didn't have any other cars. It was Defender or nothing. Then I bought my first Discovery 1 when I was 21. Sold my TD590 and bought a lovely...
Yeah.
That was actually a scrappage scheme car I bought. Old couple were trading in this gorgeous black 5-door 300 TDI Discovery. And I said to the salesman who was taking it as a trade-in, there is no way you're scrapping that. It's not going to scrappage. I will buy it. And I dailied that for a good few years. And I thought to myself, every time I got in it, I love this car. How did I daily drive Defenders for so long? But that's because I'd sampled luxury and comfort after having Defenders as daily drivers for those years.
But if you look at any car, say if you were driving a car from the 1960s and you didn't have the taste of a modern car from 2024, people in the 1960s got by with those cars. And, you know, Humber Scepter or something like that was like the height of luxury. Well, if we drove on there now, we'd think they were after junk.
Well, yes.
They're not junk, they're probably quite cool, but...
I often see, it's a commonly asked question. I'm driving 100 miles in my Series Land Rover. What precautions do I need to take? Well, if it's serviced and nothing's hanging off it, you shouldn't need to take any precautions because, back when they were new, people were using them every day and not thinking twice about it. People were driving them to Africa.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not, going up the A1 or whatever. You don't need to take a whole other car's worth of spares. You just need to check the oils, make sure it's serviced, check your tyre pressures, and off you go.
I agree.
In my humble opinion. But, yeah. I mean, I put a good number of miles on my Series 3 in the last year I had it before I stripped it to change the chassis. Went to Wales in it, Malvern a few times, Newbury. Where else?
So I drove it around the car park at Malvern, and you said the springs were a bit hard, and I was like shocked.
That was before I cleaned them up, but they're so stiff. Being an FFR,
That did feel, I have to be honest, like the worst Series 3 I've ever driven.
yeah, I don't blame you. It wasn't great.
And I didn't know how you drove it to Malvern. Perhaps I've gone soft in my old age, but, mate,
In great discomfort.
that felt rough.
It wasn't that bad. It was quite bad.
You get used to it, though, don't you? You get used to your level of rough.
Yeah. It had, I really, really love the old, well, going back onto tyres now, I really, really love the old SAT.
Firestones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, I couldn't find a set that weren't perished, so I bought the Fedema Maxima, which is like a remold copy of it.
Oh, yeah.
And they are horrendous on the road. They have no give in the sidewall whatsoever. So couple that with springs that don't really do anything, it was quite uncomfortable. I don't have them anymore. I've got Toyo open country mud terrains, which are really, really nice. I'd recommend them to anyone.
Well, there you go.
All good fun. But no, hopefully by the time you hear this, my Series 3 will be back together.
I'm quite looking forward to coming back from holiday now.
Mate, I'm buzzing to have it back on the road. I'm really, really excited to go for a drive in it. Really excited.
Yeah, really good.
I've missed it far more than I thought I would, actually.
Says you've got the right car then.
I think so, yeah. And now that I've obviously invested in the chassis and got the winch, I've got the wheels and tyres I want, the V8 is running sweetly. Many more adventures to come. I am keen. And you can come with us in your new 110.
My new 110?
When you buy a new 110, you can come.
Yeah, see, Louise, my wife, would love a 110.
Yeah, they're a bit more usable, aren't they?
The 9 is bad. There's only has 2 seats in there, and actually the space in the back isn't very big.
No.
So it's kind of like, I see a 110 would be much, much more usable.
Don't know.
Tricky.
But then again, I really like your 90, so I can see the predicament you're in. It's sort of like,
I
is the
need
grass really greener? Oh, you need both, right? Okay.
Yeah, really.
Well, if you,
because I've invested in time and money in the 90 to get it. It's almost perfect.
yeah,
It's almost, in my opinion, it's a perfect Land Rover, but it's not. It doesn't serve my needs as well.
you should build up your project 90 as a 90 with like soft top and have it as like a weekend car,
Yeah.
and then get a 110 station wagon as a daily.
So have 2 90s and a 110.
Just get rid of the green. Get rid of your
Oh, okay.
TD5.
Yeah, there's no way I'm going to get that past my wife.
Oh, really?
3 Land Rovers.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
You
no.
don't have
Two.
especially not 3 Defenders. I bet people out there do have 3 Defenders. If you've got a fleet of Land Rovers and they're all quite similar, drop me an email, editorial@lrm.co.uk. I'd love to see them.
And we can give a shout out to the person with the biggest Land Rover collection.
Yeah,
That'd be interesting, actually.
that would.
Yeah.
I
How
bet
many
there's someone
Land
out
Rovers have you got?
Who's got loads of series Land Rovers that are all quite similar.
I remember talking to somebody at one of our space days, and he said, "Oh yeah, I'm looking for." You got a massive list of parts he was after. I said, "Crikey, you rebuilding?" He said, "Oh, I've got loads of projects on the go." So how many Land Rovers have you got? And his mate with him says, "Huh, how many Land Rovers has he got?" He said he's run out of fingers and toes.
Wow.
I said, "Really?" He said, "Well, let me tell you." I stood there for about 10 minutes while he reeled off every single one he'd got.
Really?
Yeah,
Correct.
only about one worked.
This
The
is
rest
the
were
thing.
just like
I've
mad collection.
the most vehicles I've owned at one time, I think I've had 6 at once, and that was stressful because there becomes a point where you're spreading yourself too thin with time and money to keep everything up to a standard.
I owned 4 Land Rovers at once, I
Right.
think. Discovery 1, Stage 1 V8,
Yeah.
a lightweight, and a V8 110. How I wish I'd got that collection now.
Oh yeah. That's
Awesome.
a nice garage that is.
It was, but I didn't have. They were in 3 different counties.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't have space at home.
Okay. Yeah, it's difficult because
Yeah, I had one stored in my mate's place, so my mate Farmer Davis' place.
I reckon
So it was just mad.
the ideal number of Land Rovers to have is 3.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so. You have a daily driver that's kind of sensible, like a Discovery, a Freelander, Range Rover, something comfy that you can do big distances in. You have one for green laning, camping, having fun in that works, and then you have a project.
Yeah. So now I want to know from listeners what their ideal Land Rover Garage looks like.
Yeah, please go with the rule of 3 because I stand by that. If you could have one project, one green laner, let's call it a green laner, and one daily driver, what would they be? And if you own them, let us know, because I'd love to chat about them and hear from you. editorial@lrm.co.uk.
Yeah, very interesting to know. And what should I buy next? There you go. Because last week we spoke, when we had Tom Barnard as a guest, didn't we? Our markets expert.
Yeah.
And, after the podcast, we spoke a bit more, didn't we, about, the latest Land Rovers and running them, Discovery 3s, 4s and 5s. And
Yes.
yeah, it's kind of like, for every minute I think, love a Discovery 4, then I just think about the bills.
Yeah, but again,
I know, but trying to justify it.
But then also, did we not say last week that if you needed one car to do absolutely everything, you wouldn't really be able to beat a Discovery 4, but you need to have the cash on tap to keep it going? Yeah,
exactly. No, I agree. You're stuck, really.
That said, you could have a Discovery 4 as your main user if you wanted to. Job to know, isn't it? If you could look after it yourself, you save an absolute fortune.
Well, you would if you were doing it, because that's your bread and butter.
Yeah, you still got to pay for parts.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. But anyway, let us know what you think. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to leave us a rating if you don't mind for the podcast. That'd be really good. And follow us on socials and give us a subscribe on YouTube. And of course, please do buy the magazine. Subscribe if you want. Save money. Get it delivered to your door. What more is there to want?
So I would do that. Subscribe.
Yeah, I do.
Money.
I get it every month. I've already read it like 3 times by that point, but I still like to have it.
Oh, no, getting a magazine in your hand is the way to go. Definitely. I love it.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, should we call it a day?
Yeah, I reckon it's time to get out of it. Do you know what? It's bang on 5 o'clock.
Is it?
Friday night.
Happy days.
Yeah, bye then.
Thanks again to Adrian Flux for sponsoring the podcast, and we will see you next week.
Bye for now.